It's all about belonging and making people feel like they've got a space where they can be themselves.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Inside Community-Led Growth, where we speak to industry experts about how customer communities can power real business impact. Today, I'm joined by the fantastic Michelle Sims. Michelle, if you can just give us a brief intro into who you are and what you do.
Thanks, Jack. So I am Michelle. I'm a community builder. I'm a podcast host. I'm an event specialist. I'm currently global community lead at Finimize, and I look after our 1 million person finance community. And our mission at Finimize is to empower our members to become smarter investors. Also new for us is we are also a content platform that sells our content to big enterprise businesses now. So we've kind of entered the world of B2B recently, and I'm very excited to get my hands on it, get stuck in building a B2B community. I'm also super passionate about supporting more women to invest as well. So I run bi-monthly events here at Finimize, and I also run bigger campaigns around the world as well.
Very cool. Nice. So yes, I mean, you're managing, different types of community, managing communities at very different stages as well. So what does community-led growth mean to you?
We actually started as a newsletter brand. So we went from 1,000 users to 1 million users in the last couple of years, which is pretty massive. A lot of the growth at the beginning was down to just having a product that users loved and were passionate about. They felt seen, they felt heard. And I think that is what sparked the initial word of mouth and growth. And then within that, there's definitely leaps and bounds that were made. And a lot of that was not by community, but more focused by the growth team. So I won't take credit for that. But what I will take credit for, and what I feel like community-led growth means for us and our community team, is we are hyper-focused on, once we have those members, how do we keep them engaged? How do we make sure they're getting the best out of our product? So we build out activations and programs for them. So we do ambassador programs. We've got events. We've got feedback sessions. We've got customer research that we run. We even give socks and merch to people, which is really cool. And I think at the core of community-led growth, it's all about belonging and making people feel like they've got a space where they can be themselves. And I think one of my favorite community stories that I like to tell a lot is about our community member, Dig J, who is based in India. So he was part of our events ambassador program. And he came to me and he was like, I want to run a Finimize roadshow across India. And I was like, that's sick. We don't have anything we can give you. What can you do? And so basically we empowered him. We said, you've got full control. You can run this on behalf of us. So he went out, he got sponsorship from Budweiser. He got, sponsorship for flights as well. So he ran an event in Mumbai, Bangalore, New Delhi, and across 3 weeks. He did that all because the way he felt towards our brand, and he felt a part of it, and we gave him that. So, I would like to say we gave them that. He did it on his own. We just let him do it.
Amazing. Yeah. you can't get better advocacy than that, really. Why do you feel like now is such an important time for brands in all types of industries to be thinking about, investing in community and kind of driving that kind of advocacy?
Always is a good time to invest in community. I think definitely now I feel like more and more each year it gets worse as well. We've got so much choice in the world that you go to the supermarket and there's 15 different brands with selling you the same detergent. How do you get heard above the noise? So I think an important thing is not people in a boardroom dictating this is what people should buy, this is what people should think about and do. It's community offers this bottom-up approach where customers feel like they have that sense of control, that ownership, and they can make an impact to one of their favorite brands. And I think that builds trust, that builds credibility, that helps with word of mouth, that helps as a like a knock-on effect for the rest of the business. And I think we've done it really well, just to be biased, but we've done it really well at Finimize, because from the very beginning, we had our customers involved in our product, for example, and building out our app from like day one to day now. Basically, we still have them part of that journey, and that definitely has meant that we have saved on hours and engineering time of recreating things, because we don't have that feedback firsthand from our customers within seconds. Just before I started, we actually built a different product altogether. So I don't know if it still is in the App Store, but it was called Finimize My Life. And originally we went out and we had user groups, and we asked them, what do you want in an app? We asked them all these questions and we built it for them. And when we launched it, nobody used it. And we had to quickly course correct. We basically shut the whole thing down. And what we did learn from that is like, not everything that people say is what they want. You have to read between those lines. And I think we got so much better at adapting to that and learning from that experience for the next time. Yeah, without community or having that one-on-one contact with our community from the day one, we would have still been focusing on the wrong product and, still doing all the wrong things for a very long time and not being able to correct ourselves quite early.
So how do you go about creating that right type of engagement, the right type of interaction, so there is that trust and people feel like they can contribute ideas and feedback as well?
Creating like a safe space is so important, and also curating the space for them. That is kind of my motto as a community manager, is like, I go where the community goes. So whatever they tell me to build, I build it for them. And I think when I first started, one of the things that I noticed in the company was, as I rolled out events in London, we were getting like 3 women turn up to these Finimize events. I think that really spotlighted a big challenge, especially in the finance industry and in the tech industry. You don't have that many women within that industry. So one of the first ideas and things that I wanted to continue to grow was more of a female investing approach, and building out events. We built out a report with them, and I think creating all these spaces, because of the problems you see in the community, people speaking up, people approaching you, means that there is this like safe space where they've curated it with you and they know they can be themselves in that.
When you kind of have created that safe space and you built those relationships over time, you talked about the impact that has on product. Are there any other kind of big successes from a kind of business impact that you've seen?
When we first started hosting events, and it was just in London, we had more people reach out because our newsletter was global and we weren't in global cities. We were just based in London. So we had people coming to us and asking, hey, why don't you have events in Zurich? Why don't you have events in Australia? So because of that, we were able to give people permission and allow them to run events. And we went from, in the first year of launching this ambassador program where we had community members running events on our behalf, we had events in 35 cities. So we scaled Finimize from London to 35 cities around the world. And I don't think we could have done that if we were a company that had to hire 35 different people in 35 different cities, go through, contracting, all that stuff. We just enabled and mobilized our volunteers within the community. I think the other thing, which is really, really obvious as well for us, is we were actually acquired in 2021 by one of the largest financial brands in the world, Aberdeen. Actually, we just had a meeting with one of the board members, and everything she spoke about in that meeting on why they acquired us was because of the community and what we were able to do. And I think more importantly is when you do go to pitches or when you go to speak to boards, and you can come to them with these really authentic stories about Dig J or about, the other members that have done incredible things around the world throughout the years. That is impactful. And that's what people buy. They want to know about these experiences, and they want that for their own brand because they know it's so special.
There's a massive movement towards community being a kind of essential essential kind of to your product and to your brand. Like, you need evidence that people really buy into who you are and what you're doing in the long term in order to show that you are a valuable business. Definitely seems the way that kind of investing is going moving forward. We've talked about kind of the successes. What have been some of the mistakes that you've made, or also that you see community managers often make? What are the wrong ways of approaching trying to build a community?
A big one is probably focusing on like the specific acquisition numbers. If the community team are responsible for, saying, acquiring 2,000 customers a week, they're being set up to fail. Use the community where they're the most valuable, which is the engagement and retention side of things. So I think making sure that they have the right metrics, they're focusing on the right North Star, is important. And I've seen people burn out. I think there needs to be more awareness of the building of the foundations of the community and focusing on the early stages and getting that right before you see and expect results and scale and everything else that comes magically with a community.
Do you think that's because maybe community management as a kind of a practice and an industry in itself is not at that point yet where people understand what good looks like, and there isn't that kind of knowledge sharing around what you should expect and how to communicate that to the rest of your stakeholders?
I definitely think that there's more education that needs to be done. And I think we've gone through a growth spurt as an industry in the last 3 years. We have gone leaps and bounds, and now we have to go back to what we know best and start re-educating people about the benefits and the value of community. And I think startups, I don't have to really explain myself when I speak to new startups. All they want is a community person on their team because they know the scale that we can do, and at minimal cost as well. But I think it's more working with the bigger brands, working with the bigger businesses. You have to educate them.
Yeah, speaking of education, how you bring the rest of your company on board with the idea of community. What are the top communities that you recommend people look at for inspiration, but also to see it done really well?
You probably know by now that I'm very excited by ambassador programs. I launched this one with Max here at Finimize. 3 ambassador program companies that I would suggest if anyone's looking to scale their community that way. Duolingo has always been we're massive fans of Duolingo. I think Laura Nessler, I think she's moved on to Reddit now, but any kind of video I could get of her, I was like, I need to learn what she's doing. And I think they scaled to about 2,000 events a week. We were at 5 events. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. But what they do well is that giving up control and handing that over and empowering their users to do what they can with the brand. Startup Grind as well is a really good one. And also TedX, massive fan of the TedX communities and how they've franchised. It's very, very sophisticated. And also people have to raise money and pitch to have their own TED brand. So they've got something going on, and I definitely am a huge fan of TEDx. I didn't want to stick to ambassador brands, but I'm a massive fan of just general local communities. I do parkrun quite a lot, and I think not only is that supporting connection and local communities to come together, but it's also promoting health and wellness as well. I've also just joined a CrossFit. I'm seeing that firsthand of how people support each other and push people. And I've also just launched my own women's London park walk club. So we've got about 6 or 7 members at the moment, and I'm keeping it small for now, but we're picking different parks in London. We're going for walks. And I think I love going back to that because Finimize is so big now that I can't do the really, really early stage community building anymore. So often I'll, support other brands or businesses that want to know what we did and how to set up a community. But I also just love dabbling myself and having fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about connection at the end of the day, isn't it? I think, yeah, getting together with people, just to get to know people and to broaden your network, and it's what it's all about really at the end of the day. And are there any kind of experts, thought leaders that you look to, who are your kind of your gurus when it comes to community-led growth?
I am a huge fan of Rosie Sherry. I love her newsletter. If you're not signed up to Rosie Sherry's newsletter, then please do. David Spinks as well. Everyone knows him, but he is a legend. Actually, when I first started my podcast, I reached out to him and he listened to the first episode and gave me some amazing feedback that I still use today. He's a very down-to-earth person that will help anyone, just like everyone else in the community industry. So that stays true. And then I would be a horrible team member if I didn't shout out my VP of community, Max. He is an incredible leader and someone who is just amazing strategically. He's really good at like big picture thinking and just amazing.
Well, Michelle, it's been fantastic talking with you. Thank you so much for giving up your time and sharing your insights. Hopefully we can carry on the conversation in the Zapnito community, and for everyone listening, tune in again next time for another episode of Inside Community-Led Growth.
Oh, thanks, Jack.